Hello everyone and welcome to episode 43. Where did we leave off in episode 42? Well, Apis had just volunteered to be the bait in an ambush trap for the green dragon Lucifrique, who had just been terrorizing the town of Fondurg and making demands of them. Before this dusk, when the trap will be sprung, Apis had a little time to head off down to the greenhouse that serves as the headquarters of the Penkempwyr and Amgylchedd, the Wanderers of the Wilderness, the faction of druids and rangers and hermits that maintain the balance between the civilization and the wilderness. It's about a kilometre or so to the south of town, in a large greenhouse just past a bunch of farms. And so when Apis went to this greenhouse, they interrogated the half-green dragon rat that they had caught during Unguhef's preliminary attack on the town. They'd captured it, they healed them up, and then they spoke to this green dragon rat in Draconic and learned a few things about this green dragon. Namely that it lives nearby in the Lannis Woods. It keeps treasures, including some featherless birds that live up in the trees above trees. This rat was not the most easy to understand. Lives the trees above trees is where Lucifrique keeps its treasures near a river running water. The rat could probably find their way back, but doesn't understand enough about how to give directions to direct you to it without you just following them. Lucifrique is angered easily and will fly away from confrontations with his own children in order to come back with a cooler head. You learned that Lucifrique is power hungry, is driven by a desire to prove their worth and prove their strength and prove their abilities to the point where they can go back to the much larger forest of the Giftigeld forest and perhaps claim it from their father, Unguhef, the much older dragon that you think is responsible for the destruction of Shadridge. Is there anything else that I'm missing that you learned from the rat? I think that's pretty much the primary things that you learned. You learned that this rat has many siblings. They're not good with numbers, so they weren't able to put an exact number on it. But they have one oldest brother, who is the boar that you've met a couple of times now. They have a couple of older brothers or older siblings who tunnel, a badger and a mole. What else did we learn from the rat? We learned that the rat wants to go home. Yeah. We learned that among Lucifrique's treasures include some humanoids, some living, breathing, moving humanoids, probably wood elves, and that Lucifrique makes these treasures work for him and do things for him, and he gets angry when they don't. I'm pretty sure that's the extent of what you'd learned. So you headed out, ready for the night began to fall. So you headed out to the northern edge of town to spring your trap. You prayed to the god of the hunt that this would go well. You wrapped yourself in a magic rope that you can drop at a moment's notice, and you had a wizard of the town cast an illusion over your bow and quiver, so that your weapon would seem concealed, and it would seem like you are unarmed when the dragon comes down to attack. Your druid friends hid themselves in the surrounding forest. The fighter friends hid themselves in the surrounding bush as well. And you waited. You waited for dusk to come and for the dragon to come and claim his prize. But then the brush parted, snapping and rustling, as not a dragon but a half-dragon boar pushed itself from the thick and told you that, unfortunately, Luciferique did not get the chance to choose which of his children died, and he will not give Fonderg this choice either. He will instead choose for himself. Apis, you may live for today. He has chosen another. And as he says, he has chosen another, there is an almighty shriek from the south of where you're standing, from the town of Fonderg. There is a screaming, and that is where we ended off. So, as you stand on this path, wrapped in your own magic rope, with an ambush primed and ready to spring, with a half-green dragon boar about 200 feet to the north of you, and a scream several hundred feet to the south. Apis, what do you want to do? Head south towards the screams, ambush the boar, spring the trap on the boar, send the soldiers to the scream. Alright, so I think there's 4 major options that I'm seeing. All of you stay here, spring the trap, kill the boar, get rid of one more of the dragon's main generals in his army. Try and take out the boar to send a message to the dragon. The boar might have allies with him, so you'll be able to take out some of those as well. It'll be a big fight. Some people might get injured, but at least you've killed the boar and sent a message to the dragon that you won't be pushovers. Option number 2 was you and a select group of small group of allies stay and kill the boar, while the majority of your allies forgo the trap, head back to town, deal with whatever's going on there. The third option is the reverse of that, where the majority of your allies stay here and deal with the boar, while you and a select group of people head back to town and deal with that. Or ignore the boar completely. He's not worth your time. Leave him alone and head back to town, everybody. What does Apis want to do? And with 55% of the vote, Apis decides we'll half spring the trap. Everybody else get back to town. I'll stay here and kill that boar. Everybody else head back to town. So that's what we're going to be doing. The majority of your allies are going to head back to town. But which allies do you want to stick around with you for this fight? Remember, any allies that stick around here will not be going back to town, so they won't be there for dealing with that. So if you keep all of the strong allies here to make sure you breeze through this fight, then you're taking away all of the strongest fighters and allies from the town and what's going on there. Mel will be staying with you, obviously, because she's your companion. It'll be you and Mel. Is it just you and Mel? Or is it you, Mel, and Briar? Is it you, Mel, Briar, and Polython? Is it you, Mel, and the two knights of Kvosna? Who do you want to stay here? I'll allow you to keep any allies that you want, that I mentioned were in this ambush. And keeping more will mean that this fight is a lot easier for you. But it also means that none of those strong fighters, anyone you keep here, will not be dealing with potentially the dragon back in town. Tell you what I'll do. I'll do a series of 1-minute polls. Just nice and quick 1-minute polls. Yes or no to each of them. So the first poll is, so we're going to be having Apis and Mel. The first poll is, do we want to keep Briar with us as well? Yes or no? And then once we've decided if we want Briar with us, I'll ask about the knights and the wizard and the who else. And one by one we'll decide who we're going to stick around. Alright, with 74% of the vote, Apis wants to keep Briar with Briar close at hand. Do we want to keep Nambra? Nambra is a high elf Wolverine rank of the Knights of Kvosna. No, with 70% of the vote, no, we do not want to keep Nambra the Wolverine, so we will let her, the main fighter, head off back to town. Next up is the other fighter, the other Wolverine that we had, Nathine. Nathine was a Rock Gnome Wolverine as well. Ooh, 50-50 on whether or not to keep Nathine the Wolverine. So we'll put it to a roll. Alright, so with an odd number we'll say no, he doesn't get kept, and with an even number, yes. That is an odd number, 7. So we say no. Apis decides no. Send the 2 Wolverines off to deal with the dragon. Next up is how many badges. I'm not going to go through each of the badges individually. The badger ranking of the Knights of Kvosna, remember, are sort of your town guard level. So how many badgers have we got that are out here with you? 4, I believe. So do we want to keep none of the badgers of the Knights of Kavosna? Do we want to keep 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of them? With 63% of the vote, we decide to keep 2 of the badgers, 2 of the 4 badgers to fight with us. So we're going to have 2 fighters. So it's Apis, Mel, 2 fighters, and Briar currently. Just for your reference, the badgers are Maeve, a high elf badger, Victoria, a human badger, Ellie Knackle Vavrus Smella Tibbletit, a rock gnome badger, Yibble Yaramo Poobidyshoot, who is a female forest gnome male forest gnome badger. And, well, that's all the badgers. And then there's Cassandra, the human prospective squire, but she's not out in here in the fight. So you're going to keep 2 of those. Let's roll a d4 to see which 2 you are going to keep by your side here. 3, you're going to keep Ellie Knackle Vavrus Smella Tibbletit. I love gnome names. Yeah, gnomes are so fun to name. And 1, you're going to keep Maeve Corianthil. Maeve Corianthil and Ellie Knackle Vavrus Smella Tibbletit. We're going to call her by her full name during battle. Ellie Knackle Vavrus Smella Tibbletit, you need to head around the side. Alright, then we've got the Pencampur and Amgulshed. We've decided to keep Briar already. Then we've got Polython, Charlie, Mark. No, Mark wasn't there. And Hayden went back as well. So we've only got Charlie and Polython that are here with us. Alright, do we keep Polython? She's an 8th Fed ranking. You don't really understand the ranking of the Knights of the PEA, and so I'm not even going to tell you what that would mean. She's quite powerful in terms of allies. She's one of your more powerful allies, but again, if you keep her from the dragon fight, then she can't be dealing with the dragon. The reason she was part of the fight in the first place was that she was going to cast Earthbind on the dragon when he came, so to keep him on the ground. Alright, with nearly 80% of the vote, we decide that Polython is much too useful in a fight with a dragon than to be keeping her here for this fight. So we send her south as well. And Charlie is going to go with Polython wherever she goes, he's going to go. And finally, the wizards. We have 2 wizards as part of this ambush. Wizards from the Arcanists Entente. We've got Vala. She has a focus of blood and fire wizard. She was going to bane the dragon when he landed and whatnot. Again, she's one of the more powerful allies that you know. Alright, we are not going to keep Vala around with 66% of the vote. Are we going to keep the illusionist wizard Rebecca, if I'm remembering right? Yes, Rebecca. 63% of the vote, we want Rebecca to stay here in the fight, while the rest of our allies will head back to town. Because that was just a lot of polls, I'm just going to do a brief recap of what we have ultimately decided. So in this moment, when the scream occurs and Apis sort of glances back over the shoulder, you can't see the dragon, but then again you can't see much of what's going on in town anyway. Apis has to make the decision. Everybody's looking at you, everybody's waiting for your call as to what to do right now. Apis decides this is going to be the last time that we meet this goddamn boar. This boar has attacked us. It has gotten away. It has attacked Tao Chu and gotten away. This is the 3rd time we're meeting it, and it has got to die. So Apis decides that they and Mel are going to take on this boar and kill it before heading back to town to deal with the rest of it. They think in the moment that they don't need everybody as part of this ambush to stick around. They're going to be much more useful back in town if there is indeed a dragon attacking the town. They don't want to leave themselves completely out in the lurch though, so they're going to keep Briar. They're going to keep Rebecca, the illusionist wizard. They're going to ask that 2 of the badgers of the Knights of Kavosna stick around. And rolling randomly, we decided it was going to be Maeve, the high elf badger, and Ellie, the rock gnome badger. And with that group of 6, they're going to take on this half-green dragon boar, and they're going to hopefully kill it once and for all before while the rest of the ambush, the rest of the allies of the town, head back to town and deal with the dragon properly. All right. So, in that moment, Apis You have your rope tightly grasped in your hand, ready to give the command word to it to drop and release you. And you're ready for this moment. As soon as you sort of look back from hearing this scream, realizing that you might be part of, you might be in the midst of a trap of your own, of the dragon's own, you say the elven word for release, and the rope drops from you. In slow motion almost, this rope drops from you as you reach up. You drop the other end of the rope and you grab towards your shoulder where you can feel but can't see a bow that has been slathered in a translucent, magical, almost hair gel substance that turned it invisible. You slide the bow off your shoulder, and in the same motion as you slide it down your arm, you grab the other end of the string, pull it taut, grab your with your other hand while you're doing so, pulling out an arrow from the invisible quiver that was also slathered in this same sort of jelly. You pull back an invisible bow, confusing the boy. You see a sort of a slight cock of the head as it sees you drop the rope and suddenly draw back as if you're firing an arrow at it, but it can't see anything until you release the bow, and suddenly the effect of the slathered gel seems to spring off of the string, off of the bow itself. It all seems to drop to the ground, and the bow and arrows and quiver all become visible again as you loose a visible arrow through the air towards this creature. It is your bonus action to drop the rope. Your action to make an attack. You can make 2 attacks as part of the attack action, but the first of which will be he's not surprised, but it will be at advantage because he wasn't expecting it. So you have advantage on this first attack. You will not have advantage on the second attack, and then by doing so, you will start initiative, and then we'll go into an initiative order. A natural 1 or an 11. 11 plus your modifier. Let's have a look. So as you reach back and fire off this arrow, you shout at the top of your lungs, "Everybody get back to town! Everybody get back to town! This is a trap! I'll deal with this one! Mel, Briar, you stay with me!" And you hear Polython shouting shouting in Elvish something. You don't speak Elvish. She shouts something and sets off running. You can hear a bit of commotion in the bushes around. People starting to get up and move, and a couple of the knights are like coming out to make an attack and not seeing the attack. They realise what's going on. They start to run back to town. You see Nambra talk to a high elf that you've seen around but haven't met. She shouts, "Maeve, you stay here and attack that! Ellie," she shouts across to somebody in the bush away from you. Says, "Ellie, on the bar!" And then she sets off back towards town as well, shouting, "Nathine, with me! Victoria, this way!" and directing everybody to what to do. Rebecca, you see nearby. She's let's see. People are seemingly bursting out of illusions because one of the things she was doing in preparation was to get everybody hidden. So people are starting to burst out of illusions as they're running. She now drops those, not being necessary, and starts to cast, and it seems like she's going to be staying to fight as well. While Vala has disappeared, well, not literally disappeared, but she's out of her hiding place and running back towards the town as well. So let's see if an 11 plus your modifier will hit by heading over to this battle map. Not sure if I'm an idiot or not. Why is the longbow attack bonus a +8? So the attack bonus of the longbow is because we have a +3 from our proficiency, a +3 from our dexterity, and a +2 from the ranged feat. The ranged fighting style? Is it? Fighting style. Yeah, fighting style, that's right. We get to choose a fighting style, and we chose dueling. We chose ranged, which gives us a +2 to our accuracy with ranged attacks. Apis Hive, hanging out down here on a path with Mel, flying around overhead. Alright, so over here we have who is going to be representing Maeve, a blue badger knight of Kavosna. We have Briar over here. We have Rebecca the illusionist wizard down here hiding in this bush. And we have who is going to be representing Ellie, the gnome, over here, another blue badger, Knight of Kvasna. First thing, as your arrow flies through the air, as it sails towards its target, you got an 11 plus your 8 modifier to hit, takes you to a 19, and a 19 is sufficient to cause damage as you strike across, cutting the boar. However, actually thinking about it, you had advantage on the attack, but you had disadvantage because it was at long range, so it would have cancelled out. So it's a single roll. So you see that happening in your mind, but actually you get a 16, so it's even better. So you strike, it cuts across the boar's face. You're going to deal how much damage? A d8 plus, how much damage is it? A d8 plus 3 from your longbow in piercing damage. 3. That's 6 points of damage to the boar. And let's see where the boar is on your map here. Cuts across this boar's face for 6 points of damage. He's taken 6 damage. And we're going to roll initiative, because that was the first hostile attack. Because you were all tied up, the boar did not see it coming, and so it's going to be a... it's going to essentially have been as close to you're going to get as a surprise. The second one is not going to... the attack action is not... so you're not getting a whole turn. You're essentially getting the equivalent to a surprise. But after you've loosed the first arrow, you're going to get initiative to see if the boar can move out of the way before your second one. Like, did I change its HP to 6? I'm counting up from how much damage it's taken, because I'm not going to... is it +1 to damage but not to the hit? I forget which way around I said it was. So yes, it's going to be +1 damage because it's a manticore arrow that you fired. So it's taken a total of 7 damage. Alright, your initiative is a 3. 3 plus your modifier of 3. So you're going to have... let's double check. Yeah, 3 from dexterity. So a modifier of 3. So you're going to have a 6 on initiative unless you want to re-roll that with your inspiration or lucky horseshoe. Multi-attack, I will say... yeah, okay, I'll say you can do your multi-attack, but you don't get the advantage of it being the surprise. So it's going to be at disadvantage because of the range that you're firing at. 8 or a 7. 7, is that 7? Yeah, 7 plus your 8 is a 15. A 15 on its thingamabob. Let me double check the stats that I've just made for it. 15 will hit. So you strike it for another d8 as your second arrow comes in. 5 plus 4, so that's 2 arrows down, 2 manticore arrows gone, but they've at least done a total, that's 9 on top of that, a total of 16 damage to it before it even really gets a chance to move. The first one strikes across its face, and then the second one hits it somewhere in the front leg and pierces through a big chunk of muscle. Alright, so a 6 on initiative. Then it is Mel's initiative. Where are you going to be, Mel? Let's roll for you. Check your stats here. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's roll for your allies. Not the greatest. What am I using for allies stats? Okay. Then let's roll for the baddie. The boar. Ooh, okay. One of those, eh? And then let's roll for the... I'll just call them generic baddies. Because no, he did not come to this ambush alone. Okay. So, we have got first, with a nat 20, the boar is going first, followed by Mel, followed by your allies, followed by the other baddies, followed by Apis, last in the initiative order. Alright, so with the first call, the boar is being attacked. So he's going to use his movement and his action to dash. And you can see there's quite a heft of giant boar coming towards you. He's about the size of a large horse, but the body structure of a pig, and the scales and scaly back green nature of a dragon. So that's the boar's turn. Alright, now scrolling back down to Mel. We've just shouted to attack. Mel, we say, Mel, we shout, we're attacking, attack! So Mel is going to use her movement to fly forwards, 50 feet to there. Then she is going to summon her swarms. It is an action to do so. So Mel's militia pops in. So as Mel flies forwards, she starts to call out in this insectoid manner to all of the bugs and the biting and stinging and flying and crawling creepy crawlies of the forest, of which there are many, to come to her aid in this fight. She uses her action to summon swarms, and since she got to level 5, ba-pow! 2 swarms whenever she uses it now. She has to summon it within 30 feet of her, so she can move 50 feet forward and then use it to summon it within 30 feet. Close enough. She summons them on either side of the path there. They last for 1 minute or until they disappear or blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. Alright. Mel finishes her turn with her action and her movement. She can't use a bonus for anything. She's got not anything with a bonus, so then the militia will go at the end of Mel's turn, and they will move forwards at a... what's your flying speed? 30 feet. So they will move forwards 30 feet, and then they will use their action to dash 60 feet, all over his face, and 60 feet, getting all the way to him. So it's their action to get there, so they can't actually make the attack on this turn as well. But they're all up in his grill now as he's charging forwards. This huge swarm of biting, flying insects swarms all over him. Awesome, good job, Mel. And now it is your allies' turn. Your allies will jump from their respective hiding spots and start running forwards. They'll use their actions to dash. Who's this one? This one is the wood elf, or representing the wood elf, so they can go 70 feet with a dash. And this one is the gnome, so they can only go 50 feet with a dash. So it gets to there. Then it is Briar. Briar will run out of her hiding spot, run towards the boar as well. 20 feet is her little legs. She's only got a speed of 20 feet, but she can see the boar from there. What's the range? What's the range of that? 90 feet? I think she is... What could she do here? Let's have a look at the druid spell list real quick and see if there's anything that she's going to do. Speak with plants. Yeah, speak with plants is a good one. That worked last time, didn't it? You imbue plants within 30 feet of you with limited sentience and animation. Blah, blah, blah. It takes an action to cast. That's what she's going to do. Yep, she is going to... it's only within 30 feet of her, but that's good in case this thing starts to charge in and attack. So I'm going to open up her thing, give her an aura of 30 feet. So all of the plants within this area, as she runs forwards and digs her staff into the dirt at the side of the path, all of the plants in the area start to creak and move in her direction. She can turn everything in that area turns to difficult terrain. Blah blah blah. Difficult terrain only for her enemies, I believe. You can turn ordinary terrain where plants are present into difficult terrain that lasts for the duration, causing vines and branches to hinder pursuers, for example. Okay, so it's not only for enemies, but she can just choose on her turn like which parts are difficult terrain and which aren't. So given that this guy's already, this Lady Maeve has already left the range, she's fine with turning everything in front of her into difficult terrain, and obviously Mel is flying, so isn't going to be hindered by it. So she basically chooses a semicircular path like in front of her. Anything in front of her is difficult terrain. And she can change that on her turn each time if she wants. That's her action, that's her movement. She's got nothing as a bonus. So then it is the baddies' turn. The baddies' turn. So, before the baddies' turn, we're going to go up to Nightbot. We're going to grab the giveaway. 3, 2, 1. Austin DSB. Are you still in the chat? Can you put a little emote or something to say that you're still here, Austin? If we are aware that this thing has a breath weapon attack, we definitely do know that, yes. Can we instruct these allies to spread out so they don't all get caught? Yeah, they do know those things. They're just, it's harder to run through thickets and stuff. Austin, are you still here? Just give me a little emote or a yes or just an acknowledgement that you're here first, so that I know that I don't have to draw. Still here, awesome. So think about what you're going to do, Austin. You're up next, right after the baddies take their turn. As this thing runs forwards and Mel summons the bees and everybody starts to jump out of their hiding places and Briar goes about her thing. We've got the ally wizard as well that I forgot about. The ally wizard will jump out from here. She'll run round to here with her 30 feet of movement, and then she'll cast blur on herself. So she is going to blur herself up. Is there something that makes it look like she's blurry? One of these symbols. This one, why not? As all of this happens, everybody starts to cast spells. You hear from a ways in the distance over the trees here, shouting in Draconic. You hear a voice shout, "What are you doing, you idiot? You were told to trigger the trap and retreat." And the boar shouts back, "We can take them! Father will reward us greatly if we destroy them now! You idiot, it was a trap!" And then you hear wings beat and take to the sky as flying in from above there is a gigantic, probably about the same size as he is in the body, but much larger range to where they can hit, because they have the larger wings to lift a body of such a size. A crow with a almost jagged beak like dragon teeth, and underneath the bottom of the beak is almost like the wattles of a turkey or something, but it resembles more of the frills underneath the green dragon's head. And the feathers are green and seem like slick, almost penguin-like feathers on the back that provide hardened shell-like kind of a substance to its head. As a half-green dragon crow flies in from above to join the fray, you also hear your wizard friend call out in surprise as the giant rat that had snuck around to behind will scuttle forwards and then use its action to dash. And your companion on the other side will call out as well, as you are aware of movement in the forest to your right, sorry. As another half-green dragon rat comes running out of the forest in that direction. Has to use its action to get there, though, as a dash. And then this one will use its action to get to about here. This one behind it. You hear movement from the trees and bushes around in various different directions as various different rats start running out towards you. Let me just double check that I've got the speed of a giant rat correctly. Yeah, 30 feet. Their speed is unaffected by the fact that they are giant, half dragons. So with a dash. Alright, so that is the bad guys, except for the crow. Oh, there was another giant rat that I forgot about there, look. With a dash, gets to about here. So the crow has come in from this direction over here, can can move as the crow flies, as it were. I think they go 50 feet on their turn. Let me just double check that. Oh, no. Much more. As they fly forwards, as the crow flies. With a dash, they manage to soar down above from there. Alright, that is the fight as you can see it, as Apis can see it here. It is now Apis's turn. Apis, what do you want to do? Are we within 150 for the longbow now? Let's have a look, Austin. I think we will be, because it charged forward. Oh, you probably won't be, actually, because it was 100, it was like 200 feet away. Oh yeah, no, there it is. Because it charged forward 80, of course. I was thinking it charged forward 40. No, it moved forward 40 and then charged with an action. Yes, the crow is within 120, and so is the boar. How far is the crow from you? The crow is about 100 feet from you. The boar is about 130-ish. There are a couple of giant rats that you can see running through the forest that are about 60 feet-ish away. Austin says, let's go longbow on the boar for the action and hunter's mark on the boar for a bonus action. Awesome. Alright, so we will bonus action hunter's mark that boar. As it charges down, we see the bugs coming in. We hear this crow coming in, and we realise we need to take this boar down as quickly as we can. We think about where that boar is. We look at the terrain around it, the nature that it is displacing by its presence, and by that we tune into the nature, and we figure we know how to hunter's mark this thing. We pull the bow up from the ground, conjuring this hunter's mark on our quarry, our hunter's quarry. And it is hunter's marked. We're not casting it at level 2, are we? I don't think there's any reason to upcast hunter's mark. It just increases the duration, doesn't it? Not the damage, I think, from memory. And then as an action, fire off 2 shots. The first is going to be an 18 plus stuff will definitely hit. The next is going to be a natural 1 plus stuff will not hit because it's a natural 1. So the first one deals damage. It deals a d8 6, and it also deals a d6 from the hunter's mark 4. 10 plus 4 from the from it being a manticore headed arrow, and that becomes plus another, plus 4, so 14 points of damage. 14 onto 16 takes it to 30 points of damage. 30 points of damage, I think, has taken it to the wounded state. Let me double check that. Yes, it has. It is now hunter's marked and looking wounded. That first arrow strikes as he's kind of like putting his head down to get out of the flying insects that are all around him, trying to push through them, galloping forwards. You strike it through sort of the top of the throat towards the clavicle. You do significant amount of damage and kind of make him stumble a little as he runs, but he's still up. And the second strike, you fire it. It misses him, but with a natural 1, the way that I run it is that there is a chance that it's going to hit your ally because he's in that space. However, your ally is dexterous enough to make their dexterity saving throw, so they take no damage. The arrow strikes through the cloud of bugs, but it just happens that they were kind of parting naturally in that area anyway. You can re-roll the second one with a inspiration or lucky horseshoe if you want. Do we want to re-roll that? Alright, no, with 68% of the vote, Apis decides, well, they don't decide, luck decides that Apis is going to miss with this attack. And luck also decides that you're not going to injure one of your swarm allies with it as well. You do lose the arrow though, it's gone, and with it being a nat 1, it's going to strike into something hard and the arrow shaft will snap and you're not getting that arrow back. So somebody keep in mind that you've now fired 4 of your manticore head arrows. That was Apis's bonus action to conjure hunter's mark, action to attack. You've now got your movement. Do you wish to move anywhere? Are we moving, Austin, or are we staying where we are? Let's move back to keep range. All right. So keep seeing this thing charging down at us, and this crow flying overhead. We decide, let's keep ranged here. We're best at range. We're good with the bow and arrow. We'll stay at range if we can, and use your movement to move away from the fight, keeping in range of your arrow. It is back to the top of the round. It is the boar's time to shine. It is going to leave the bug's melee range, and as it does so, they take attacks of opportunity on it. That's 14 plus your attack of opportunity. That's going to miss, and that one's going to hit. So one of them, enough of them bite that some of them actually do some damage, and it deals. Not bad damage either, like maxed out both of the damage rolls. They do 9 points of damage to him as he leaves their area. And he's still got 30 feet of movement. Is he going to breath weapon damage? Can he get close enough to breath weapon from there? 30-foot cone, right? So he can get this person in but can't get another person in. Would he prefer to get another person in? He's not smart enough to go for cover, unfortunately, so he charges forwards. Actually, he is going to make a charge attack, isn't he? Because I just remembered he adds that. Yes, he's going to make a charge attack. He is going to move, boom, all the way forwards to this fighter, who is charged forwards with a fighting stance, getting ready to attack. The boar is going to make a tusk attack. That is going to hit. Let me check. Allies. Yep, that's going to hit. Then it's going to do 1, 2. And then another 1, 2 because it's a charging attack. Brrr. 3, 17 points of damage. 17 points of damage to your ally there, and that ally must succeed on a strength saving throw, which she does. So she is not knocked prone. Oof, she's just kind of knocked to the side as he slams into her with his tusks. That is all he's going to do right now. He can't do his breath weapon as well. He's going to do that on his next turn. If he has to, I guess. Schlam! That's the boar's whole turn, I believe. His movement, his action. Yeah. Then it is Mel's turn. Mel is going to continue to fly forwards. Now I can zoom in on the battlefield a little closer now that things are getting within range. She's going to fly over to here. She can do her soporific spores, or she can do a sting. You haven't shouted to do your sleep spell yet, so she's just going to fly down to him. I'm going to remove the wings to show that she's no longer like up above the whole battle. She's like down on the melee range. And she's going to do an attack on him. Mel, do your stinger attack. Yeah. Oh, that's... Oh, she's actually got a pretty good modifier. That is... No, it's still not quite enough. She strikes in, her stinger coming, scraping across the front of his face, but he's just gored this person off to the side, so as she goes in to sting him this way, he turns and manages to almost like headbutt her, and she strikes him right in the centre of the forehead where his scales are hardest. And it doesn't hurt her or anything, but it doesn't manage to pierce through and do any damage. Then it smells militia, so that was her movement. She's got a bonus action. I don't think there's anything that Mel can do as a bonus, is there? No. Then it's her militia. A militia are going to try and catch up. They're going to use their movement, 30 feet. They're going to have to dash. Should they go for the flying creature? They're one of the only things that can fly. They can't get to them with can't get to her with movement, but they're going to dash and get up to her. This one is going to go with a dash to catch up to the boar. That's all the militia can do. It is now your ally's turn. This ally, that is Maeve. Let me pull up my details on Maeve. What does she do? Ooh, I'm unfamiliar with this one. I know they can bonus action give themselves a... They can bonus action give themselves an extra attack, is it? Let me check. Fighting Spirit. Intensity in battle help you strike true. As a bonus action, you give yourself advantage on attack rolls until the end of the current turn and gain 5 temporary hit points. Cool. Bonus action. That's what she'll do then. So she will give herself a fighting spirit. She'll feel emboldened. Let's use a fist for that. So as she's just been struck pretty hard and pushed backwards, she's got her sword drawn already. She gives herself 5 temporary hit points. For all intents and purposes, I'll just reduce her HP damage to 12 from that, and then she's going to strike. And because she's got advantage on all attack rolls from this turn, she's going to action surge as well. So she's going to take 4 attacks with advantage against this boar. Hey, one of them's a nat 20. The next one is a hit. The next one, I'll miss with both of them. And the next one's a hit. So she's got a crit and 2 hits on this guy. I think he's going down, but who knows? That's one of these, one of these, one of these. 32 points of damage. Holy shit. 32 points of damage. Strikes. Strike, strike, strike. As she strikes this boar for quite a significant, hefty bit of damage. It turned towards Mel to deflect Mel's sting. And then your badger friend Maeve taps into some sort of sword-wielding training that she's obviously had. As you sort of look over and as she's drawn her sword out, you realise that it is a long blade. It's kind of like a long sword, but it's a little thinner and has a touch of curve to it. And it seems to only have one cutting edge rather than a long sword, which is double-edged swords. And she brings it out and strikes down once across its neck as it's turned away to hit Mel. It cuts a big deep gash in its neck, and a lot of blood starts to gout out. It squeals like a stuck pig, because he is. And as it sort of turns its head back towards her, she uses that momentum from the downward blow to bring it, thrust it back in through up underneath the bottom of its jaw. And as you hear the crow shout out, "This is why we were told not to attack you, arrogant motherfucker!" And then, as the last of its poisonous breath is leaving its mouth, as it's trying with its dying breath to kill the people around it, she brings back the blade, brings it around and right through the temple of the boar, puts her foot on it and kicks it to the side. And it drops with quite a heavy motion. It is much more resembles a katana than a longsword, yes. She is a samurai subclass of fighter. That was a bonus action. That was her action. That was her action surge. Might as well healing wind. What's it called? Second wind. Takes back 9 points of damage. Heals herself up with a sort of shrugs it off and looks up at the crow, ready to go again. Does it not have a relentless as a boar? Thank you for the reminder. Yes, it does. So the first damage, I need to actually work out what the damage was individually then. So the first one was the crit would have not been enough to kill it. The second one would have been enough to kill it. So the third one would have then knocked it down to 0. Let me just double check that. Giant boar. Relentless. Yes, the second one would have reduced it to 0. It was knocked back up to 1 instead, and then the third one would have killed it. So it still dies. Then it is your other. You continue with your allies' turns. She's still got the speak with plants going. She could turn to an animal. She could try and charm these rats, maybe. Briar is going to see the. She knows that the plants won't do anything to the crow, but she has heard these people crying out in pain and things. Briar's going to run to the rescue of. She can't run there because she's tiny. She could turn to something that runs faster, maybe. Or she could charge. Don't think optimal thinking character. What's Briar doing right now? She's going to run to. She's not going to run over to the person that she can see, because if they're standing next to her, she knows that the crow is right there and will be able to see these two and think that they're a target for the breath weapon. So she's going to split up as much as she can to avoid the breath weapon. She's going to get to there with her tiny little legs, and then she's going to, as she gets to there, she can see this guy coming for Apis. So she's going to use the dash action to move another 20 feet over here, keeping equidistant between all of the people, trying to disperse that breath weapon. And then as she runs, she turns her communication with the plants to remove the difficult terrain around your ally over here and add it over in this region instead. So everything between the rat and you guys is difficult terrain, but everything between Ellie and the boar and everything is not difficult terrain. And everything over here is not difficult terrain in case the wizard wants to run away. So that's her move, her action to dash, and she's speaking with the plants. Can't see properly, sorry. There you go. Everything around this rat is difficult terrain now. Everything between this rat and you guys, all of this is difficult terrain. But everything up here is not difficult terrain anymore, and everything on this side is not. As she runs forwards, she tries to keep herself equidistant between all of your allies, while also putting some hindrance on this rat that's running in to attack you. That is your ally up here, that's your ally down here. Then we've got these two. Let's see, she sees these two coming in this way, so she's going to run in to attack them. She's only got 25 feet movement as a gnome though. And what type of fighter is she? Ellie Knackle Vavra Smeller Tibbletit is a Battlemaster Badger. So she can't do a lunging attack even from there. She's brought out her gnome-sized longsword. She's going to make some attacks at this thing if she can hit them, but she can't. So she is going to. She knows that she can't probably stand 2 breath weapon attacks. Gnomes are intelligent. She is intelligent enough to not run towards the things that are going to breathe on her. So I'm going to retract that. She is going to. What does she do? What does she do? She needs to make them come to her. Tell you what she's going to do. She's smart enough that she's going to get to here with all of her movement. She is going to run towards them, but she's going to use her action to take the ready action, and the trigger of that ready action is her movement. As soon as either of these rats starts to, as if they're about to breathe on her, she's going to interrupt their movement by using her movement to run back. She's going to try and goad them into using their breath weapon, and then duck back and then run in and hit them while they're recharging. That's her plan. Then your ally down here, the wizard, the illusion wizard, who has currently got blur on herself, is going to magic missile this rat here, this giant rat. She knows that the scales are pretty hard and she can't possibly bop it on the head with a staff, so she's instead going to hit it with a spell that she knows can't miss. She's going to make it a 4th level spell, a 2nd level spell, which is 4d4, just to make sure that she's doing the damage to hopefully kill it. That's, hey, 1 of each. I literally got a 1, 2, 3 and a 4 on it. So that's 3, 6, 10. 10 plus 4 is 14 points of damage. 14 points of damage will kill the thing. exploded. I'll take it off the map pretty much as it runs towards. Magic missile. All four of them hit, deal pretty average damage. Slam it dead. What are the ballistas on the wall doing while we have this fight? They turned round to run back towards the town because they need ballistas to fire at dragons if there's a dragon attacking. I believe that's all of your allies, is it not? Alright. Which it comes down to the baddie's turn now. Alright, with baddie's turn coming up, we're going to first roll Faye. Faye 16. Are you still in the chat? Can I get a little thumbs up if you're still in the chat, or an emote of some kind, just to say that you're still here? You're here, awesome. So you think about what you're going to do. If you've got any questions, I can answer them, or the chat can answer them. This is the fight as you're seeing it. Let me zoom out to give you a better idea of what's happening so that you can formulate your decision. Meanwhile, I will decide what all of the baddies are going to be doing. This one is going to run forwards. It can only go 15 feet because of the difficult terrain. So as it pushes its way into this difficult terrain, getting to about there. Is it close enough to use its breath weapon on... Ooh, just. It's going to use its... Let me just double check that. What's the... might be actually a 20-foot cone, I can't remember. Breath weapon... 15-foot cone, yeah. Alright, so 15-foot cone from him to your ally is just like right on the cusp of 15 feet. So what I'll say is, he's going to breath weapon on her, but she's like right on the cusp of it, so I'll give her advantage on the saving throw. So your ally Briar is going to take potentially 4 or a 1. So she had advantage, so 4 plus her con is not going to do it. She's going to take... Ooh. I don't actually have enough dice out right now. Oh, not too bad rolls though. 5, 10, 12, and another 10, so 22 points of poison damage. Is she wounded? I can't remember exactly what Briar's health is off the top of my head, but I think that's enough to make her wounded. What's Apis' maximum? Apis' maximum is 56 and you're a level 5. She would be less than that. Yeah, so that's definitely going to be enough to be wounded, I think. Hang in there, Briar. This one has used its breath weapon. These ones have not. So they're going to run up. They're going to run up to her. He's going to breathe on. Actually, I should do them one at a time, shouldn't I? Because her interrupt is going to change things. So they were like here. This one's going to run up to her, right up close, and breathe back, which triggers her held action. She's going to dart backwards with her movement. And then he's going to a 15-foot cloud after her as she holds her breath, turns it back and runs out of the cloud of it. Kind of like disperses over her shoulders. Doesn't manage to make its way around to her respiratory system. And then she turns around to go back and attack on her next turn, obviously. This one is a few moments, like a few milliseconds behind the other one, so as she runs, he is also bringing into attack, but he sees her run out of the range of it, so he's going to use his movement to get into range. So she avoided one of their attacks with her readied action, but she's definitely within range of his the other one. That is enough to succeed on the save, so she'll take only half damage. 11, 12, 15, and another... Oh, shit. 15. And another 5, 6. Ooh, 15 and another 11 makes 26 points. Halved because she saved. 13 points. She is not wounded. You see her coughing and spluttering, but you also saw that she kind of covered her mouth before... covered her mouth and nose and managed to block most of it out. Some of it still made its way into her eyes, like she's just been caught the brunt of caught this sort of dispersing effect of like pepper spray or something, and she's coughing and spluttering. I should remember as well that it was raining all day today, so it was it's all muddy ground and stuff as well. As people run, if they suddenly change direction, I'll probably make them make a dex save against slipping in the mud or something. That's those 3 baddies. Who else we got? We got these rats up here who are going to continue running forwards. With their movement, they're going to dash. The guys are running. Their movement, going to dash. These guys with their movement, going to dash through the forest. Get into there. And then the crow is going to... Who have you got? Got bees, an ally, and a big giant bee. You're enough to enjoy this breath weapon attack. So, as Crow leaves the Mel's militia range, they are going to take an attack of opportunity on her. They're going to take a biting attack, and they are a full swarm at the moment, having taken no damage. However, that is an 8 to hit, and will not make it through the feathers and scales of this half-green dragon crow. So it takes no damage as these insects swarm towards it to meet it, and instead whoosh, just flies through them, mouth open, and eats a few of these bugs as it flies forwards, yelling draconic insults at its stupid half-brother for running forwards and triggering this stupid trap too soon. It gets to within 30 feet as it flies forwards, and like a dragon from above, spews down poisonous cone over all 3 of your ally friends, the militia, Mel, and the high elf lady, whom you've just heard is called Maeve. Pigs are very smart, yes, pigs are very smart, but they're also quite aggressive, and so he was allowing his aggro to overcome his need for cunningness. The green dragon part of his brain should have been a lot more intelligent than the boar part of his brain allowed him to be. I need Constitution saving throw from Mel. Here we go, Mel. What's your con save? Oh, that's not bad. Oh, in fact, that's exactly what you need it to be, I think. Yes, you met the DC, exactly. So Mel is going to take half damage. Let's do Maeve next. Maeve is going to be... Oh, that might be enough. What would her con be? No, it won't be enough. She wouldn't have... As a samurai? Nah, she wouldn't have that much of a con. So she misses it by 1, I think. And then the militia... What's your con save? Not the greatest. Nope, that's going to fail. The militia are definitely out of there. Alright. That is going to be 9. Oh, this is a crappy roll. 9, 11, 13, 19. Oh, that's much better. 19 and 12 makes 31, and 10 makes 41. 41 points of poison damage. 41 points. Because Mel succeeded, hers is halved, so she takes 21. Because I round up. 21 of her 39 takes her down to 18 points of damage left. Is that right? Yeah. 18 out of 39, so Mel is looking wounded from that. Your ally takes 41 points of damage. As a fighter at this level, that would not hurt her, that would not kill her, probably. Let me double check. I haven't actually done the official stats of all of these people, but let me just do some maths on the fly. I'm going to say she's got a +2 con, because that's normal for a fighter, so she'd start with 12, and then she'd get another roughly... Yeah, no, she's not dead, but she is badly wounded. 41 onto that, so 44 points of damage. She's on her last legs, it seems, and the militia is absolutely obliterated. All of the bugs instantly drop from the sky like they've just been fumigated by this huge bug bomb. Then the crow will continue its movement. So it was here. It moved forward to here. That's 25-ish movement. It's going to continue its movement. Crows are super smart. Yeah, it hasn't taken damage yet, so it's smart and also savvy. It knows that it can scare the rest of you off. It's going to do a sweep over to here with its movement. That is the baddie's turn. Let me take the boar right off of the initiative order now because it's dead. It ain't taking a turn. Alright, we are back to Apus's turn with Faye. Faye, what are you doing on Apus's turn of combat? I want to longbow the crow and use bonus action to move the mark. No worries. Alright, so you can do the bonus action thing first, which is good because it allows you to shift the damage, do extra damage to this geezer. So as the boar is falling to the ground, you see that the green sort of natural cling to it that helps assist your arrows in doing extra damage when it hits. It sort of sloughs off of the creature, but kind of stays in a very pale greenish haze around it. And then as a bonus, you shift it with your somatic component. You move your bow over to the crow, and you see that this green mist follows your actions and clings itself to the underside of this crow's feathers. That's your bonus action, and then attack, is it? You said attack, right? Let me just double check. Longbow the crow, yeah. Can you also tell Mel to sleep the crow? Sure. You shout out as well as a free action, Mel, sleep on the crow! Then you're going to make 2 attacks with your longbow. First one is going to be a natural 1. Do you see that? Natural 1. Do we want to reroll that with any of the dice, any of the rerolls? Did the badger kill or attack the rat for any damage? The badger. Oh, right. I was thinking you mean an actual badger because you didn't capitalize it. The badger class, the Maeve, or this one. It hasn't come back around to her turn yet. She held her action to run away from the spewing breath. And when it comes back around to her turn, she's going to run in and attack them while they're recharging. Reroll. Most people are saying reroll. It's definitely everybody's in favor of the reroll right now. Okay, so we are going to use our inspiration to... how do I turn it off again? Here it is. Sparkles. We are going to be a natural 1 with that, but instead it is a 10. 10 plus 8 is 18. 18 is enough to hit it, I believe. Let me just double check that for sure. But I think it will be fine. Yep, 18 is plenty enough to hit the green dragon crow. As you bring out another one of your manticore arrows, take aim, and there's a moment where your arrow sort of slips. It's got residual slippery paste on it that was from the invisibility, and it slips in your grasp, and you almost completely just balk it, but you manage to hold on to the arrow just as you kind of letting go of the string. You clutch it again, and just as luck would have it, you fire off and strike true with it. That is going to be one of these and one of these for damage. That's a 4 and a 3. That's 7 points of damage plus 4. 11 points of damage to the crow. The crow is not yet wounded. As the arrow is flying before it's even struck its target, you dig down into the training that you've had from Sam on how to quick draw, and you bring out another arrow and fire again. Second attack. You don't have advantage or disadvantage for any reasons, I don't think. No. 4. A 4 plus 8 is going to be a 12. Do you want to re-roll that with your second re-roll? Sleeping the crow is a bad idea because it'll wake up when it hits the ground. Yeah, but it'll be on the ground and prone. Yes or no on the re-roll? We're going to have a little more contention on this one, I think, so I'll put it to a 1 minute poll. This is the last re-roll that you get for the day, unless you do something that's particularly in character for Apus, that is perhaps not the ideal way to play, but as roleplay makes sense, in which case I might reward you with inspiration. Generally speaking, I'll give out inspiration for moments where roleplay supersedes mechanics. So if you do something that is not necessarily the optimal way to play, but it is what you would do in character, that's the sort of thing that it will reward inspiration for usually. How many other enemies? There are rats galore. There are these rats here. 1, 2, 3. These are all alive and unwounded. There are these rats up here. 1, 2, 3. Alive and unwounded. If the crow dies, then maybe the rats run. But maybe they don't. Alright, 59% of the vote saying not going to reroll on that one. So 4 plus 8 is 12. 12 is not enough to meet the armor class of the crow. So as the first one hits, you bring out the second one, and this time the residual slipperiness on the string does slip your fingers off of the bow before you're quite ready with the aiming, and the arrow goes flying off into the forest somewhere. You might be able to get it back at some point. Somebody keeping a track of how many arrows we've shot now? It's like 6 or 7 or something. That is Apis's bonus and attack. Faye, do we want to move at all? Apis is here. We can move back. We can continue moving back. We can move forwards. We can move into the forest to try and get some cover. What does Apis want to do with movement? Or do they want to stay where they are? What do you want to do? Faye, would taking cover in the trees on the left be a good idea? It's up to you. You can do whatever you want. If you think it will be a good idea, you can do that. You've got an illusion wizard here. You've got Briar, who is a wounded ally in front here. You've got an unwounded knight ally over here. A wounded ally up here that looks looking on lost legs. Take cover on the left. Awesome. Alright, so you are going to use your movement to duck into some of this tree coverage here. Right underneath this foliage here, just out of line of sight of the monsters that are coming for you. It is back to the top of the round with Mel. Mel and her militia. Mel is not looking good. You've just shouted to her to try and sleep the crow, so she's going to do just that. She's going to bring to the front. She's going to fly up above the crow, like above its head. That is way bigger than I thought it would be as a crow. Oh, it's because it's accounting for her wingspan. Her actual body's like central to this this token. She flies up above sort of the head area of the crow, and she is going to use her action to soporific spores. She is also now flying, no longer in melee ground range. Mel shakes off a dusting of pollen which drifts downward to form a radius of blah 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 blah. So the crow must make a Constitution saving throw. 3. Nope, that's nice. Certainly not got a Constitution of that high. So the crow will fall asleep. One of the first people to actually succumb to Mel's soporific spores. Go Mel. So as Mel flies above, like flies pretty much in contact, melee range of the crow's head, and then shakes off the soporific spores, it drifts downward from where Mel is. Nobody else is within the range of the crow now. The crow gets some of its spores in its eyes as it flies, and then the eyes sort of blink to blink out the spores, and then after they blink a few times, they just don't open again, and the crow sails to the ground, the wings going limp underneath them, the momentum carrying them forwards, and they slam down onto the ground here. They're going to take a little bit of falling damage from that. I use homebrewed rules for fall damage in my games to make them more account for inertia and also terminal velocity and acceleration and all of that nonsense. So I've got a falling damage table here. She's going to take... She can't make the save for it, so she's going to take 3, 6, 2 is 8. 8 points of damage as she falls. Slam. Taking her to 19. This does wake her up again immediately, because she falls asleep until the sleeper takes damage or someone else uses an action to wake them up. So she slams down asleep, but as she hits the ground, it cracks a couple of the scales on her body. But she wakes up. She is considered, I suppose, is she considered prone? Because she kind of just like slammed down. Is it even count as prone if you're on the ground? It doesn't feel right that she's prone. Maybe she is. Let me roll a dice. Let me just decide. Yeah, alright, she's prone. Considered prone. She slams down and a wing kind of tucks underneath her as she slams. So she's got the effect of being prone before she has to stand up and fly away. That is Mel's turn. Then she's still got some movement left, so she's going to fly down to like stay in melee with her. And now she's removing those wings because she's still in melee of this crow on the ground. Then we've got our Mel's Militia. The Mel's Militia are going to bzz into where the... oh, maybe they can grab this one. Ah, too far away. 30 feet, look at that. They can finally reach somebody and make an attack on their turn. Mel's Militia are going to fly at that rat that's running in, and they're going to make a bite attack. Ooh, nat 20! Alright. So that's going to be 9 plus... Ah, can't pick up d4s. 9 plus another 2. 11. Which is still more than you could have rolled. Oh, and it's actually still enough to kill them as well. So these rats are deceased. This rat is deceased as the biting insects fly around the rat and just swarm over its face like a horror movie, stinging, and it tries to breathe in order to exhale poisonous fumes on it, but it breathes in a whole bunch of these flying and biting insects, which start to just immediately swell up its throat as they sting it from the inside. The rat falls over unconscious, and by doing so just allows more room on its softer underbelly for the rats, for the insects to get in and bite and sting. And how do you do critical damage? Yeah, max out what you could have rolled and then roll on top of it. That was Mel and her militia. It is now the allies' turn. Your allies. This one is fucked. She is not looking good, but she was prepared for a fight with dragons, so she knows it comes with the territory. Part of her job. She's already used her second wind, so she's going to use her potion. Action to use it. Yeah, she's just going to use an action to use it to make sure she recovers the maximum amount. That's a home rule in my games. If you use an action to drink a healing potion, you just get the maximum amount. If you use a bonus, then you can roll for it. Just to signify that a bonus is much quicker, and you're doing it while you're also attacking or doing something else with your action, and so you're going to like dribble some of it down your face and not recover the full amount of healing. But she takes her time. She sees this rat coming in and she goes, oh god, this is going to hurt. She makes sure to take it all, and then she is going to run away from the rat that's about to breathe on her, over to the wounded crow to try and finish it off. Or to get an attack on it when it leaves her melee range at the very least. She's gonna run over here on the path there, and she yells, Ellie, flank it! She's shouting to Ellie to flank this giant crow that's on the ground. Hopefully they can stop it from flying away by pinning it to the ground or something. Stab it through the wings. She used her action to drink the potion though, so she's not going to be able to do anything else. What can fighters do as a bonus? I'm not familiar with samurais. Fighter, samurai, what have you got? Anything you can do as a bonus? You've already done your... Oh, she could use another fighting spirit just to give her the temporary hit points. She's not going to be making any attack rolls this turn. But if it means surviving, it's a good idea. Yeah, okay. She's gonna use another fighting spirit. She's not actually gonna get, well, she's gonna get advantage on attack rolls that she's not gonna end up taking, but it does mean that she gets 5 temporary hit points. So I'm just gonna equate that with an extra 5 hit points there. She might be able to survive an attack at this rate. All right, that is your ally there. Then it's your ally here, who was about to dive in. Yeah, she was already ready to turn around and attack these things before the instruction came in from her comrade. So she's instead going to run forwards and take an attack on this geezer. She's going to make it a... What sort of battle master abilities would she have? I didn't flesh out all of her abilities. She can use some of her superiority maneuvers. Ambush, bait and switch, brace. She could do with the cleaving ability to... Yeah, I suppose if she stands here, she could cleave and lunge through to this one and attack both. Yeah, that's what she's going to do, I suppose. What's it called? It's not called a cleaving attack, is it? It's called a sweeping attack. Yeah, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend a superiority to attempt to damage another creature with the same attack. Choose another creature within 5 feet of the original target. Ugh. I'm going to ignore that. And within your reach. And if she uses a lunge as well, it's now within your reach. You can make a melee weapon attack, expend your attack by 5 feet. Yeah, alright, so that's what it'll do. She's going to run forwards. She's about to strike the one that's just blown poisonous gas over her. As she gets there and she's about to strike it, her friend Maeve, her colleague Maeve, shouts, flank the crow. So she turns around and does a lunging attack on the crow. Because it is prone and she's making a melee attack. Technically she's 5 feet away. Ugh. Just do it. I'll just ignore that rule for now. I don't care. She's going to use a lunging attack. She's going to roll, and because it's prone, she's going to get advantage. I am decreeing. Which means definitely a hit. 20-something to hit. She's going to expend a superiority dice along with her longsword damage. 4 points. 4 points plus her modifier of 3, 7 points of damage to the crow. And then she's going to use her superiority dice to make an attack roll against, well, to attack this one as well, with the same attack. 20-something will hit both. And it does mean that, what is it, sweeping attack, blah, 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 choose another creature, blah, blah, blah. If the original attack roll would hit the second, it would. It takes damage equal to the number you roll on your superiority dice. Ugh, only 3. Oh well. So she does a little bit of extra damage with that. Oh no, sorry, that was the previous superiority dice. It's this one that she does. 6. Okay, that's better. It's alive. It's taken 6 points of damage, this one. That was her attack. Lunging attack. She's now got another attack. She could just do the same thing again because she could use all 4 of her superiority dice. Yeah, let's do it. She's going to do the same thing again. She's going to lunge at this one and then sweep back through and strike at this one. And then with the extra momentum of having swept back through and struck some of the rat, she's going to then lunge forwards again, strike this one and do the exact same thing again, hopefully. So with advantage on the second attack, yeah, 20-something again. So firstly she does 9 plus another 3 is 12 points of damage to the crow. 12 points of damage takes you to 38. And then she's going to spend her last superiority dice to hit this rat. To hit this rat for 1 point of damage, which is not enough to kill it. It is enough to wound it, but it's not enough to kill it. Whirling Dervish. She spent all 4 of her superiority dice to do a bunch of attacks. I guess she's going to action surge and just try and finish it. Well, first she'll action surge and just do one regular attack on this rat that's sticking around. Ugh. I think that might hit though. 6 to hit, 14 on the rat. I'm pretty sure is enough. Let me check. Yeah, that's just enough. 14 on the rat. 9 points of damage. That'll do it. All right. She kills this rat. Chops off its head. It's taken a couple of wounds from her. But she's sticking around, so she... and then she's going to take her second of the action surge attacks to... she's going to use her movement to run up to this one, kind of flanked. It's too large to be flanked by just 2 people. You need to be surrounded instead. So she's going to just take an attack at it. Regular attack. It's got advantage because it's prone. Ooh, 6 or a 7. That's not enough to hit. So she strikes down, cuts off a couple of feathers, but they were like they were not attached. They were not. She didn't strike through any flesh. She just cut some feathers. That's her movement. A bonus. Bonus? Don't know if she used a bonus action. She could use a bonus action to healing word, couldn't she? She used her attack action, all 4 of her superiority dice, and then an action surge and 2 more attacks. So she's pretty much spent, but she's going to... Right, let's do this. And she's going to use her healing word, her second wind. Takes 2. She's doing okay. Now she's done. Alright, that was your allies. That was this one, and Mel, and we've got Briar and Briar and this wizard. The wizard who's got blur on is going to come forward. Actually, doesn't need to move. Doesn't need to move. She's just going to reach across to this one and magic missile. She's going to do it at second level, like she did with the first guy, just to make sure it goes down. Magic missile, slightly less than the first one. So that's 6, 7, 8, and another 4 is 12. 12 points of damage is enough to kill them. That was her turn. That was her action. She's going to use her movement to get somewhere where she can see some of the other baddies and stuff, but she's also going to like try and hide in a bush a little bit. Her form is still blurry. And then finally, Briar is going to drop the plant speak with plants, because it doesn't work as a oh, it's not an effect. What am I doing? It's on here. She's going to drop the speak with plants and instead cast entangle to try and keep this thing on the ground. As it slams down behind her, she quickly just like turns the plants from one spell into another. She's going to try and entangle this crow. It's going to get a strength saving throw to avoid being caught up in it. It's got decent strength though. Ooh, no, 19 on the dice plus its modifier. As the spell comes up and tries to wrap around it, it starts to get to its feet and pushes the vines off of it. Unfortunately, it's not entangled, and because it's also in the same area as your allies, Briar just immediately drops the spell so that it doesn't entangle your allies instead. I believe that's everybody you can do. It is now the baddies' turn. The baddies. Right before we go baddies, let's roll to see who is going to control Apis this turn. Krold 1, are you still in the chat? Can you put us a little thumbs up or something to say you're still here? Is Brian not moving away from the rats? Yeah, probably would be, wouldn't she? Yeah, she'd probably get the hell out of there as much as she can anyway. With she doesn't want to run into melee with friends. She doesn't want to put them at risk. It's not a lot of. Oh, there's a couple of deceased rats over there, so running this way isn't too much of a hassle. Just gonna run down there. Alright, Kroll, you have a think about what you're going to be doing on your turn, and in the meantime, it's the baddies' turn. The baddies are going to be... You're dead now, mate. Thank you. Baddies are going to... So let's go with Crow first. The Crow is going to stand with half of its movement. It is... How much health is it on? How much health have you got? Yeah, you're definitely looking wounded, so you are going to get the fuck out of there. Is going to... Let's see. Crow's intelligence. Smart enough to disengage. You know these things can attack you from range. Do you want to just dash and risk it? The amount of damage they've been doing. Yeah, you're just going to dash. Alright, so it's going to leave melee range of all three of these allies without disengaging, so they're all three going to take attacks of opportunity. Mel first. Mel is a 13 plus 7 from her stinger, so that's a dirty 20. That's going to hit. It's not enough to take her down, so the next one is definitely a hit as well, and the third one is a miss. So the samurai... Oh, let me just check the samurai ability really quick, see what the wording is, because she did take Fighting Spirit. Advantage on all weapon attack rolls until the end of the current turn. Unfortunately, it says turn and not order, or round. If it said attack rolls until the end of the current round, then she would have also had an advantage on this this opportunity attack, but no. No such luck. It's just going to be a regular attack, which hit anyway, it's fine. Alright, so Mel's stinger is going to do a 7 points of piercing damage to the crow as she runs away, trying to escape Mel's wrath. And then she needs to make a con save against the poison. Nope, fails the poison as well. Hey, Mel's target is finally failing con saves. Doesn't happen a lot often. Takes all of the poison damage. Let me roll my 2 Mel dice. Not the greatest on damage though. Oh wait, it's poison damage. Nope, poison damage isn't going to help. Again, it isn't going to hurt this creature. What did I say? Did 6 points, didn't it? Or did I say 7 points? I'll go with you guys and say 7 points. I thought it said 6. So the poison courses into this this half-green dragon crow, and as you'd expect, with it being half-green dragon and using poison as a weapon, it is immune to poison damage. But it still did the stinger piercing attack. And then your friend Maeve, the badger, will attack and do damage as well. Maeve is samurai, uses a katana essentially. That's going to be 9 points of slashing damage. Takes you to 54 points of damage. You are seriously wounded, but not yet dead. And then this one missed. And so she is going to get out of there. She's going to... So that was 12, 13 feet-ish. So she still has a lot. She's going to, as the crow flies, essentially just fly in a direct line as far as she can in this direction. Takes it to about there-ish. There you go. So she's going to double dash, which from you, Apis, means that the crow is now 230 feet away. Still within your long range of your bow, you would just have disadvantage on the attack roll. How much damage was that? How much damage was the damage of the sword, the katana? I think she did 9 damage. Oh, half movement to stand though. Thank you, K-Cladder, for the reminder, keeping me honest. So let's remove 40 from that. Yeah, she had to stand with half a movement and then dash, and then move 40 and dash another 80. So she should be 120 feet from where she started. Yes, 120. Which means that from Apis she is just under 200 feet away, 187-ish, give or take. Okay, that is the crow. Now let's do all of the rats. These rats are going to move in towards this stinging thing that just killed their sibling, half sibling, and breathe on Mel's militia. Mel's militia will fail their saving throw against it, so they're going to take full damage. It's definitely enough to kill the swarm, so that is... Oh, is it? Let me double check. Oh, actually, they're a little hardier than I thought. If I roll poorly, it could survive it. Nope, that's dead before I even re-roll the second ones. Definitely. Almost maxed him out. So that militia is wiped out. That was this rat's turn. This rat is going to run in and try and breath weapon on these two. Mel was close enough to be attacking a downed creature, so unfortunately Mel is going to be in range of this cone as well, if it's within 15 feet. Yes, she is. So these two are within range, but your other friend is not. Let me double check actually. Let me reconnect that. Because technically 15 feet. Yeah, it is within 15. So this one's going to blow on Mel and your ally. Mel first. That's a fail, and your other ally is the same number. Both fail. As this rat comes in with its poison breath from behind. Whoa, that's a lot of damage. 12 plus 5 is 17, plus 3 is 20, and then another 2 is another 10. So that's 30 points of damage. Mel takes both. Mel takes all 30, and so does your ally. Mel only has 18 hit points left, so she drops to the ground like a bee that's just been fumigated. Slams down unconscious. Yeah, ally no longer has that fighting spirit. Was wounded on 30. I have to work out exactly how many hit points you actually have now, don't I? Let's roll for it. How many damage you would have rolled every level up? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many hit points do you have? Oh, that's good. 17, 20, 24, and 8 makes 32. 32 and 12 makes 44-ish. 44. So yeah, they're definitely down. Not dead, but down. Unconscious. There we go. That's going to be... I'll use the unconscious symbol rather than the dead symbol. As they take a strike at that crow, The rat comes running in and the crow is shouting in Draconic, retreat, retreat, as it's going. But these rats are not going to listen to a random, well, not a random. They're not going to listen when they've got potential food that they can eat. So this one's going to clamber over its corpse of its friend and attack with its breath weapon. Oh, actually, does it have its breath weapon back? This one up here that just breathed has only done dashing, so it definitely has its breath weapon. Just want to make sure that I'm not forgetting that I'm using that. That one does not get its breath weapon back, so it's instead just going to do a regular bite attack. Regular bite attack at your friend Ellie, that was her name. To attack, that's going to be not enough to hit. There's little rat teeth come out, and the little gnome that it's attacking parries it to the side with a fighting prowess. Catches the front teeth on the long sword and kind of pushes back. That is the rat on this side. That rat's dead. This rat's dead. Everybody's dead, I think. Let me zoom out and check. This rat's still to go, but he just killed the other thing, the other militia. So I think that's everybody. All right. Whew, lots of bad guys. Apis, it is now your turn. So what are we doing, Krold? Oh, he said, unfortunately, gotta go, so I would like to taunt the crow with crow thing that drilled your mama. Send her to her grave. Do you want to die too? The rest of the round I want to leave to you guys, and good night all. No worries, let's re-roll then. Cake ladder. Cake ladder, I know you're still in the chat, I just saw you there. So Apis shouts something out in Draconic to try and taunt that crow. Do you want to die? Cake ladder, what do you want to do on your turn as Apis? Move up towards the two downed friends. All right. So Apis is a dwarf with relatively little legs, so they're not going to be able to get all the way there. But you move out from cover. 25 feet gets you there. Your two downed friends are over there. So even with a dash, you will not make it. You'll make it to there with a dash. With your movement, you've gotten to here. Let me zoom in and show you a little clearer. Q1's on Mel, can't do that because you can't get to her. You can Misty Step. You could Misty Step 30 feet as a bonus action. If you Misty Step 30 feet as a bonus action, unfortunately that still is not enough to get to Mel. You'd be like 5 feet short or so. How much would you have to get to Mel? Oh, you'd be 5 feet short. Tell you what I like to do in my games. If you're ever 5 feet short on movement, I allow you to make an athletics check to see if you can push yourself to run 5 feet further than you would otherwise. So I will allow you, if you want to, Cake Ladder, you can make an athletics check. See if you can push yourself to run a little further than you could otherwise, and then you can Misty Step, and you would be next to Mel. Just shoot the crow. Alright. Mel can't die in one turn, I don't think. They can if they take damage and then fail a death saving throw. Shoot the crow. So you run forwards towards Mel, but then you shoot the crow. Let's see how far the range of crow is from where your new position is. About 160-ish feet from you. So it's going to be at the disadvantage range. Do you want to use your bonus action to Planar Warrior? You've got Hunter's Mark on the crow. You've got Planar Warrior if you want to take it. Totally stealing that make an athletics check thing. Yeah, it's something that I offer, and if the reward for doing so is you get to move an extra 5 feet on your turn, because it sucks to be like 5 feet short of trying to heal a friend or whatever. You just push yourself a little bit faster. But the failure for doing so, maybe you trip over, maybe you get a point of exhaustion that lasts until the end of the combat, something like that. Misty Step close to Mel and then shoot. Alright. So Apis is going to, as you run forwards, you definitely got a lot of fear and adrenaline, making that familiar prickling sensation on your skin. You tap into that. You look over to the space near Mel, and you are surrounded by a white mist that then boom reapparates over by Mel's body. You're about 5 feet short of Mel. So you reach out to touch her and you think, shit, I can't get to her, but I can't let that one leave. You're going to use your action to attack the crow. You now are within 150 feet, so you have a regular attack on this one. True, can't Misty Step and then cast another spell anyway. That is a good point, and I need to also remember to tick off second level Misty Step with your bonus action. A 3! Apis can't attack today. Must be because we greased up your bow. You've got a nat 1, a 4, and a 3. You've got a lucky horseshoe. What do we think about re-rolling it with a lucky horseshoe? You are pretty sure that a 3 will not hit. Reroll, yes, 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 yes. Most people saying yes. Any objections? Reroll, get it, get that crow. All right, nobody's objecting, so you're going to use your lucky horseshoe for the day. As you go out to touch Mel and you think, fuck, not yet, I'll get her in a second. Your hand slips on the bow again and you think, remind me not to let some wizard put grease on my bow in future. And you fire off your arrow, having just caught it in time. Shout insults at the crow. 14. 14 is much better. 14 plus your modifier of 8. 22 to hit. Definitely hits. So you are going to use your Hunter's Mark damage, which maxes at a 6. And your arrow damage, minimum of 1. So that's going to be 7 points plus 4 from your Manticore arrow. That's going to be 11 points of damage to the crow. 11 points of damage, and oh my god, I think it's... Alright, chat. Describe the kill. Literally had 11 damage left. Literally had 11 hit points left, and it was like, oh, I can't, I've got to get away, Did not want to die. So with Hunter's Mark, you fire it off, you tap into the Hunter's Mark ability that is granted to you by the god of the hunt. And as you are hunting this creature that's flying away from you, it can move in all 3 dimensions to get away. And so it's the trickiest thing to try and hunt. You've got to account for the wind. You've got to account for all kinds of nonsense when you're hunting. When you're shooting at something in the sky that's flying away from you, moving targets, it's a very tricky hunt. But as your hand slips a little on the bow, the god of luck allows you to grab a grip on the bow, and there's another presence of a god that just kind of, you feel almost like you've just got a couple of fingers just pushes your hand just up a little bit, and then that extra aim. The arrow fires off, strikes through as the crow is flying away from you. It strikes through underneath the scales that were sort of like slick-backed feathers scaled. Underneath one of them, into the back of its head, and as it kind of falls, it twists its body, and you can see that it's pierced right through the back of the head and out the sort of top of the eye socket of the other side. Slams into the ground with a sickening crack as its neck breaks against a tree trunk, and that crow, that half green dragon crow, is no more. That is your movement, your bonus, and your action. Apis, congratulations. I can close this crow tab down now. Nevermore. Nevermore. You have a second attack. You took the attack action to shoot at the crow. You've got a second attack. Who are you going for? It's still Cake Ladder's turn. Ultimez is going to be so happy with us. Yeah, that was a tricky shot. Second attack against the nearest rat. This one here or this one here, they're both kind of equidistant. This guy's about 24 feet away. This guy's about 20 feet away. Which one do you want to... This one's engaged with your gnome friend and behind your gnome friend for a little bit of cover. This one's out in the open and is the biggest threat to your downed friends. The nearest rat, as in like the one attacking your gnome friend. The path one, okay. Not the nearest one, the one with 3/4 cover. this one. This one's the bigger threat to your downed companions, so you turn to that one and with your second arrow, strike out at it. You've got no more rerolls until you do something inspirational. 18, you don't need that reroll, thankfully, on this one. 18 is definitely enough damage to hit. You're going to do 6 points plus another 4 from your manticore arrow, so 10 points of damage to the rat. 10 points, unfortunately, is not quite enough to kill it. It is enough to instantly wound it, so I guess during using my my homebrewed massive damage abilities, it should... No, it saves. Saves its constitution save and takes no additional effects from having half of its hit points gone like that. That one takes a lot of damage, 10 to be precise. I believe that's everything that Apis can do. Attack, bonus, and movement. Back to the top of the round for now, Mel. Mel needs to make a death saving throw because she's starting her turn at 0 hit points. Alright. Then it is Mel's militia, which are all dead now, so I can take them off of the board. I will roll for the ally now. Ally's turn. That is a fail. This ally is going to use her action to attack this rat in front of her. That's going to hit, and the second one is also going to hit. So with both of those, that's probably enough to kill, but let's roll it in case she minimizes the damage. She almost does, a 1 and a 2. Oh, 3 plus 6 is 9, not enough to kill it. Which is dangerous for you, because this rat might get its breath weapon back and down even more of your allies. And then your last 2 allies are down here. She can... Ooh, magic missile one last time. Last of her spell slots. She's going to... Last of her second level spell slots. She's going to use her little legs to move out towards... I forget, is she a hobbit? Let me double check Rebecca. Fuck it, I can't be bothered. I'll say she's a hobbit for now just to err on the side of caution. She's going to use her last level 2 spell slot to conjure 2 on this one and 2 on this one. And I think she can't see any others, can she? So that's going to be enough. Yeah, 2 magic missiles on that one, 2 on the other one. Try and finish them off as they're both wounded. I maxed. And almost maxed. I got a 4 and a 4 on this one up here. So that's 10 points of damage to that one. That explodes in a red mist. And then I got a 4 and a 3, so 9 points of damage on this one, which explodes in a red mist. And then finally, your last ally is Briar. Briar is going to... can she get to anybody to heal? She's going to run forwards. She can't heal from a distance. She doesn't have healing word. She could heal herself. Ooh, I think you have to touch. Let me just double check. Oh, no. She doesn't... Jesus. It's a bonus action and it's 120 feet range. Jesus, that's powerful. One creature you can see within 120 feet of you. Alright. She is going to... Ooh, she's a proper animal lover. Does she go for humanoid life over giant bee? Fuck. Oh, this is a decision. What does she do? What would Briar do? She's all about animals. She's pretty much been raised by wolves. She sees animals as much as a human life. I think she goes for Mel. Knights of Kavosna can help in the fight, though. I think she goes for Mel. She's gonna go for Mel. She's gonna raise Mel. She's gonna use... Yeah. Mel recovers 5 hit points from a distance. As Briar runs forwards. What does this look like? She gets it from the dream realm. I think it's like a dream version of herself. It's next to them. As Briar runs forward, she kind of like closes her eyes as she sort of comes to a stop and just breathes deeply. And then you see beside Mel's body, you see like this ghostly, almost Technicolor ghost, with kind of like non-saturated colors, but it's brightly colored but not saturated color, and it's sort of a swirling humanoid form of about a 2 foot tall. 2 foot tall ally of yours, Briar. You almost instantly recognize it from its form as she sort of reaches out and lays hands on Mel's body, and you can see that the green toxic sort of chlorine gas that has invaded Mel's airways. It seems to expel itself from the various different what are they called? Not pinnacles. The various different breathing tubes on a bee's body. You see this chlorine gas almost come out of it, and Mel buzzes her wings and doesn't open her eyes because she's got compound eyes that never close in the first place. But she seems to come back to consciousness, prone on the floor. And then Briar continues to sort of walk forwards with the intention of doing it to the other lady who's prone on the ground as well. Is Mel dead? No, Mel has just been brought back to consciousness. Alright, that is all of your allies, I believe. Baddies. Are there any baddies left on the battlefield? Let me zoom right back out and see. This is dead, this is dead, this is dead. There's 2 that have exploded entirely. There's a corpse of a bad guy there. Here's one. It is too far away and sees a lot of its allies have died. As the crow was screaming in Draconic to retreat, it decides it's going to do that. It sort of momentum carries it forward a little bit, and then it scurries off into the bush over here, and it's going to use its dash action to get the fuck out of dodge. There is one rat you can see up ahead that ducks off into the forest to run away. Alright, that is the baddie's turn. Apis, what are you doing on your turn? Who is up? Let's have a look. Nightbot, roll it. Ads, what are we doing on our turn? It doesn't seem like there's any hostile fighters anymore. You can chase. It's completely up to you. You can give chase to try and kill the retreating rat to leave no survivors, or you can cure wounds this one, or you can cure wounds Mel. You can whatever you want to do. You can, if you can get that other rat within sight, you can hunter's mark it. You can change your hunter's mark over to this one. You cannot see the other rat. No, the other rat has definitely disappeared into the forest from where you are. It's completely out of line of sight. You could see the path, and it ducked off over here, and it's in the bushes somewhere up here. So if you would know that by going like 70-ish feet forward, you might be able to get a chance to look where it went. Move to the downed ally and heal her first. Alright, so you move up with your 25 feet movement. Only half of it even, so you've still got a little movement left after. You walk forwards and you focus on the goddess Flonenshale, the goddess of healing, that whose divine healing energy radiates through you. And you reach down and you press your hand against the chest of your downed ally, who's kind of fallen into almost like the recovery position onto one arm. You press your hand against her chest, her breastplate. And you feel this warmth radiate down your arm. This golden light radiates down your arm into your hand. Your hand feels almost hot to the touch. And then you cure wounds on this one for how much? Are you doing it at first level or second level? You have that option now. For the first time ever, we have the option of upcasting cure wounds. If you cast it at first level, you get a D8 plus your wisdom modifier of 2, I believe. So you get a D8 plus 2. If you cast it at second level, you get 2 D8 plus 2. You're going to go first level, alright. So first level, cure wounds, 5. Let me just double check that it's a 2. Wisdom 2, yes. Wisdom for a ranger? Yeah. So your ally here coughs and splutters. Comes back to 7 hit points total. I know that I was counting up before, it doesn't matter. Is no longer unconscious, but is wounded. as like green sputum comes out of their mouth. As soon as you realise that they're alive, you sort of call to the others, help this one! and you give chase towards the other thing, which I think is what you said. Move to the down ally, heal her first, use the rest of the movement to continue towards the rat. I don't think that we can do any more because we can't do 2 spells. Correct. You can't do 2 spells in 1 round unless one of them's a cantrip. So you used all of your movement to cure wounds and then get up to this one. That was your action and your movement. You've still got a bonus action if you want to do a bonus action. It just can't be a bonus action spell. I can't think of... Oh, you can move Hunter's Mark to something as a bonus action, but only something you can see. What is the chance that you can see this creature? Let's see. Directly from you, there's definitely sort of foliage in the way. I'll make it possible. It is possible to see, so it's just a high DC. So as a free action, I will allow you to make your perception check. Ooh, look at that. It went 17, 3, 17. 17 plus your perception modifier of 5 takes you to 22. I set the DC at 21. So you did actually you do actually see it as it's running through the forest. Your passive perception kind of... Oh, and forest bonus, yeah. There you go, 24. The DC was 21, so pretty good. You look across and see the rat scurrying. You can see movement more than the rat itself, but it's enough that you can now move it with your bonus action to Hunter's Mark if you want. There you go. So the Hunter's Mark comes off of this creature. You can see it just kind of move like the wind through the trees. The trees kind of rustle as a sudden wind moves past them. It's got this like greenish tint to the wind that suddenly like takes, and you can sense in that moment, you can feel the rat's body and where it is in space, even though you can't really make out the rat too well. You just sort of caught a glimpse of it as it ran into underbrush. All right, good job. It is back to the top of the round with Mel. Mel is no longer unconscious. She kind of like flutters back to her feet. Your allies no longer unconscious. They stand back up as well and get themselves back into position where they can like, is everybody okay? Is everybody okay? The baddies all gone. This guy's going to flee another 60 feet through the underbrush and such. He's going to get to wherever he can. Definitely legging it with a dash. And then it comes back around to Apis, and we're out of initiative order. If you want to give chase to this thing, we're no longer in initiative order, but we can turn it into a chase scene, a skill challenge essentially to chase down this creature. You have less speed than the rat does, so it would be gaining on you. It would also not be suffering the detriments of it being sloppy mud around you. As you would, as you're running through it. So it's up to you. Do we want to chase the rat? Do we want to leave Hunter's Mark on it to try and like wait for it to lead us home? Do we want to just casually walk after the rat to see where it goes? Do we want to try and kill the rat? What's the general vibe of the chat here? All right, vast majority of people saying going back to the town. As you let this thing go, then you keep concentration on Hunter's Mark in case you need to go after it for a while. In a while, Hunter's Mark at the level you cast it lasts for an hour, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so for the next hour, you have Hunter's Mark on this rat that's running through the forest, and you get in like a vague understanding. It's not like a divination spell per se. You don't like get a solid path in your mind of the direction it's taking. You're just getting a vague sort of compass point and general direction to where this creature is, and it gives you advantage on like survival checks to find its paths and things like that. So as it runs off, you're getting a vague direction of where it's going, but you turn around to help your friends with their wounds, make sure that everybody's safe and okay. And as you arrive back to your group that is all kind of coughing and spluttering, and Maeve is recovering, he's sitting up, and Ellie is standing next to her, kind of patting her on the back and helping her to cough up along. You look up to see all this time you've been kind of hearing sounds of screaming and stuff coming from the general vicinity of the town a few hundred feet behind you, obviously, but you've been focused on the battle. But now that the battle around you is kind of subsiding and you can focus your attentions on a wider periphery from your immediate vicinity, you hear the screams once more from the town, and you look up to see a green dragon a few hundred feet in the air, leaving the town. You don't see it flying out of the town. It's already above the town in the sky when you kind of look up and see, oh, there he is. Huge, big Lucifrique, the green dragon, moving away from the town in the general direction of the forest. And you are led to believe with that Lucifrique has escaped the whatever happened in town. One last time, I'm going to give you a perception check to see what you can see about the dragon as he escapes. Alright. As the dragon flies with a nat 20 plus 5 perception, you take a good look at it. The sun is in the right direction, that it's illuminated from your side, not like silhouetted from behind. So you can see the dragon just as the sun is setting in this dusk light. With your dark vision, you can make out there is a humanoid hanging limply from the dragon's claws. And that's where I'm going to end the session. I will see you next time. Thank you very much for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.